By the power of TJ McConnell and Justin Holiday staring at the ceiling, it's time to trade Dennis Schroeder, because we need somebody who can be a defender as well as a three-point shooter for us, and at the same time still be somewhat of a playmaker, because Schroeder, he's having one of the worst shooting seasons in the history of the league, I have to imagine. His defense is trash, and it would have been nice if this would have worked out. It ain't gonna work out. So now let me go through a few point guards who people mentioned in the comments. Eric Bledsoe, he's way too good. The Phoenix Suns should never trade him, at least not for Schroeder. Drew Holiday fits the bill, except for his three-point shot is a little too low. Avery Bradley, he's not a passer, guys. We need a playmaker on this team. Corey Joseph has never hit a three-pointer in his life. The 71 is actually pretty generous from 2K. Same thing applies to Ricky Rubio. The day he scores is the day Iggy Azalea makes a good song. Matthew Dellavedova would have been a nice choice if not for the guy we ended up going with, Marcus Smart. Same thing for Corey Joseph and Ricky Rubio. Darren Collison seemed like an interesting choice. However, his defense is kind of inconsistent besides his on-ball and his pick-and-roll defense. George Hill could have worked a couple years ago, although if we can be honest, 2K has been a bit disrespectful to him when it comes to his defense. And then some other guys, Dante Exum, he's like the Jazz's one point guard and he's doing well. Jeff Teague is cool, but he's not a huge upgrade. And then of course, we're not going to get somebody like Kyle Lowry or Chris Paul or anybody like that. So when I go through all that, it ends up on the Orlando Magic once again, who have this log jam going on at point guard. And I think the guy to go for is Mike Conley. I was a little concerned about his three-point shot not being amazing and his age, but at the same time, he's 31 years old, and that's not too bad. It also fits the narrative of, like, you know, veteran on a one-year contract going to a team who needs that one more piece to hopefully be a title contender or something close. But not only that, Elfrid Payton has a really frickin' weird release, if we can be honest with ourselves. That thing is never going to go in. And so I said, alright, let's get the Dallas Mavericks in here because they don't have any sort of point guards, so they can get Dennis Schroeder and then we can get Conley and a few first-round picks can go around. But then you know what? Orlando just says no. Everything you're saying makes sense, and it would make all the sense in the world in real life, but no, we're just not going to trade Conley. And so then I was like, well, I noticed that Conley was actually starting the majority of the season, so maybe they think he can be their starting point. So then I just said, well, screw it. If you're using him as your starting point guard, I guess it works to give you Schroeder straight up. So Mike Conley's our new point guard, y'all. And you're going to see immediately, from a defensive standpoint, huge upgrade over Schroeder. But also someone who can play off ball a little bit, given that he has a three-point shot, open up our offense a little bit more. And 2K actually thinks we're pretty damn decent on defense at this point, so hopefully it actually holds up. So what's Conley going to do on his very first possession, because of course I have to spam plays with him? Well, it's a pick and roll that has a good result, but to be fair, Schroeder could do that kind of thing too. But you will see later on, he does some things that Schroeder just wasn't doing for us. So what's Kawhi Leonard going to do? He takes a dumb three-pointer, flat top with the rebound, shout out to him. And Kawhi Leonard not exactly living up to the defensive name by just leaving Ingram wide open in the corner, so that's a three-pointer. Because Ingram just goes God mode every time I play this game for some reason, it's wild. And look at that defense from Conley, which I've said before, I might be the one controlling him, but it definitely feels easier to play defense with guys who are actually good defensively. The pass to Okafor running the floor, that's a very good sign. I also rhymed accidentally there. Shout out to Chris Move because he needs the shout out, of course. Turnaround jumper from Aldridge, and San Antonio, 10-point lead, we're doing pretty good right now. And watch what happens here. The double team, kick it out to Conley, and, well, it didn't go in. But it was a good idea, and hopefully he's not going to miss that when I attempt that later on in this game. If it happens, I don't want to give nothing away. 12-point game, and they're actually running Kawhi on Conley, which results in some mismatches other ways, which is good. So we go to the well this time. Hopefully Conley can knock the shot down, and he does. And that's exactly what Schroeder was not doing, because he was shooting like 19% from three. We're going to do it one more time with Conley. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, doesn't that fit perfectly with what we're going for? Someone who can stretch the floor and hit the three-pointer when they decide to double Jahlil Okafor is beautiful. But then also on this side of the floor, he can play defense as well. It's a perfect thing going on with Mike Conley. However, Jahlil Okafor is not playing defense, which is another reason why you have to acquire a new point guard like this, because when you have a guy like Okafor who's not a natural defensive player, you gotta surround him with dudes who can play defense. And San Antonio, they're creeping back in this thing because that's what of course they're gonna do. They're the San Antonio Spurs. They always pull out some wizardry and magic to make role players play like all-stars and stuff. Tony Parker's still in the NBA, shout out to him, although he can't defend Brandon Ingram worth crap, but we can't defend Kawhi Leonard worth crap. That's terrible, man. I'm sure Mike Conley in real life would be yelling at the team because he's the type of player who would actually do that. He's a leader. He also knows how to pass to the flat top as well in Nerlens, as San Antonio makes the same mistake we did. Defense once again with Conley. Ooh, that's nice. That's very good. But also, as I wait up, I know Conley's trailing. Nice little mid-range jumper. It didn't look like it was going in, but it dropped. And so the lead is starting to stretch back out there. Tony Parker's still on Ingram. I have no idea why. We just dunked on Thonmaker, which would never happen in the Nuggets series because he was Dikembe Mutombo times 5. And it seems like our defense is starting to get attacked together as Kawhi Leonard is stopped from Nerlens just going straight up in the air. Ingram with a dumb three-pointer that decided to go in. I'm feeling pretty confident with Brandon Ingram, man. Every time I shoot with that guy, I think it's going in. Boban with a nice little mid-range. Shout out to CSB because he needs the shout out too, of course. 10 points. San Antonio has made this close. Can they keep on keeping on and close the gap? Well, Mr. McBob, Josh McRoberts, who at one point was a god-tier role player, made that one. Covington with the worst shot in basketball, a long two-pointer. The result did not surprise me. Hopefully we don't screw this thing up now, as, Goran Dragic, who's an interesting acquisition from San Antonio, he makes that one, even though I just punched him in the face with Rodney Hood. So are we going to blow our first game with Mike Conley as our new point guard? It's only 3 points, y'all. This ain't good. Well, looking at this now, I really should have put Kawhi Leonard on Brandon Ingram in San Antonio's defensive settings, because he just don't have a chance. How the hell is that little dude going to defend Brandon Ingram going to the rim? I know Ingram's skinny as hell in real life, but it's working. And then on that end, Kawhi Leonard just gets blocked on a turnaround. And then Conley, well, pretty much any point guard can make that pass, to be honest with you. 9-point game, and it seems that the Spurs, what they once had going on in this game, seems to have kind of fizzled out. As LaMarcus Aldridge, he can't defend Jaleel on the post-up. I don't know why Thonmaker wasn't defending him there. He was earlier in the game. And first game with Michael Conley, 15-point win. He was the defender we wanted him to be, as well as the three-point shooter. He hit 2 threes when they decided to defend, or double team, Jaleel Okafor, I should say. Pretty damn nice win with our new point guard.